James Jones from the Mid-Pacific ICT Center in San Francisco at our 2010 ICT Winter Conference. Got a lot of great people here. One of them is Dave Nelson from VMware. Hi.
Hi, James. Thank you. I'm Dave Nelson, and I work for VMware. I'm based in Colorado. Our offices, headquarters are here in Palo Alto.
So you get to do some work while you're out here besides just helping us understand VMware better.
Yeah, indeed. The last few days I've been in our Palo Alto offices and having an opportunity to meet face to face. So this was really a great opportunity for me to come out, because I was able to get some FaceTime with my colleagues out here, as well as having the opportunity of presenting at the conference.
Good. Well, VMware and virtualization are red hot. And for any members of our audience who aren't total geeks and don't know exactly what that is, can you describe what virtualization is?
Yes, I can. And it's always interesting when I speak with people who are not in the IT industry and try to explain it to them. But interestingly enough, it's a concept when you explain it in terms of the fact that typically you have a physical machine. On top of that, you have layered the operating system, and then you have applications on top of that. And for a long, long time, that has been essentially the structure. And what virtualization does is it provides a layer of abstraction between the hardware and the operating system and application, so that you then have a virtual machine, and you can have many, many virtual machines on one physical machine. The advantage there is that typically you'll find that in a situation where you're not virtualized, the server utilization is somewhere around 10 to 15% on average. And so what you're doing then is you're spending a lot of money for hardware. You're spending a lot of money for air conditioning and electricity and the floor space and all of that sort of thing, and you're only getting 10 to 15% of the return on that. So by virtualizing, what ends up happening is you have many, many virtual machines on top of one physical machine. All of these virtual machines think that they own the physical resources underneath it. In fact, they are being provided by VMware's abstraction layer, what we refer to as in our latest release as vSphere. And so that then provides all of the resources to the operating system and ultimately supply the applications. And that would be the physical things are CPU, memory, storage, and networking. And in doing that, you can reduce the number of servers that you need depending upon the utilization and the criticality of the application that you're running. A lot of times we'll see that you'll get a 10-to-1 reduction in terms of number of servers, but sometimes you will see servers that have 40 virtual machines on it, as an example. So it's a tremendous savings there. It's also a savings not only from the capital expense point of view, but it's also a savings in the operational expense. Because because you need less air conditioning and electricity and so forth, that's one thing. But in addition, because you're doing things in a virtual world instead of a physical world, you need less people in order to manage that. And so you end up with reducing cost, and interestingly enough, at the same time, and I hope I'm not blabbing on too much, but at the same time, what's happening is that you're increasing reliability and availability. Because in the physical world, when something fails, basically the system comes down and your application stops running. In a virtual world, you can, while the application is running, while the operating system, the virtual machine is running, it can be moved from one physical machine to another, and therefore keeping 100% uptime.
So before we get too much further, let me see if I can summarize and if I'm understanding correctly. So in the world of IT until now, we've had dedicated computer server resources to specific functions or tasks. And having that dedicated computer resource costs a lot of money, not just to buy the machine, but also to operate it, to provide space for it, to provide cooling, to provide electricity. And this technology allows one physical resource to actually be shared by many different tasks and services, so that you don't require as much equipment and you can lower operating costs as well.
Absolutely correct. And there's one other very important thing that's happening right now, and that is the whole notion of cloud computing and the paradigm that it represents. It is essentially the next step in terms of computing. If you can consider virtualization is a very important technology in enabling that, and VMware is working, has set up a collaboration with EMC and also with Cisco, and we've created what we refer to as a VCE. And underneath that, what we have done is we have created a separate organizational entity that will provide cloud computing for anyone who wants to basically have one-stop shopping and all of the services and support available to them for doing their cloud computing application. Here, the primary thing that would happen is that a data center would use cloud computing to supplement what it has, the physical resources that it has. So consider that you have certain times of the calendar year or the calendar quarter where there are large demands placed on your computing infrastructure. And let's say that you're going to be releasing a new product, or you're at the end of quarter, and you're fearful that you'll run out of resource and you may end up with systems locked or crashed or whatever. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, you can provide the necessary provisioning through the cloud to be able to get the additional computing power, storage, networking, all of the resources that you would necessarily have to own if you were doing everything within the context of your data center. But now you can have this provided as a service. I like to use the analogy that electricity for your home. You may have the capability of generating some of your own electricity yourself. You may have wind, you may have solar, that sort of thing. But if you don't have wind and the sun isn't shining, then you reach out on the grid and get the power to do the things that you need to do. And interestingly enough, when you do that, you don't know whether the power that you're getting off the grid came from hydroelectric, or if it came from fossil fuel burning, or some other way of producing electricity. So
electrons are electrons.
Electrons are electrons, and computing is becoming computing. So the compute power that you will use in the future more and more, just like in the case of how we have used the internet and the web to extend the capabilities of computing. Now what's going to happen is that we will see that the physical resources that you have needed in the past in your own environment will be extended by virtue of the fact that you can get them through cloud computing and in a virtual sense.
So it makes good business sense for someone who operates their own services to adopt virtualization, because they lower their capital and operating costs. But it also enables cloud-based services that allow people to sort of stay focused on their core business competency. Precisely. And just let somebody else handle it for them, which also makes good business sense.
Yes, and a very important point that you made, and that is you need to understand what business you're in. And are you really in the IT business, or is that a service that you need in order to do the business that you're really focused on and should be focused on?
So for at least those two reasons, virtualization and VMware are really red hot right now. It's being adopted at a phenomenal rate.
Yes, I feel very blessed to be on the cutting edge of technology with a company like VMware.
And at the same time, if there's demands for your technology, there's also demands for human beings who are able to operate that technology. And so the students who are wanting to understand virtualization and VMware and how they can do the things that are now in demand in the workplace to support those things, that's also enormous.
Extremely important, and one of the reasons why we very gladly accept an invitation to participate with you in speaking with schools, because one of the things that can happen is we can have the best technology in the world, and if we don't have people who understand that technology and can utilize that technology in the workplace, it basically becomes an inhibitor for us to proliferate that technology. So what the school system does for us is we make available to them the intellectual property which enables them to train their students to become certified on our technology, so that after they have completed their studies, they have a degree from the institution, but they also have a professional industry recognized certification that goes along with that, making them more employable, so that when they go out into the workforce, they can present themselves as someone who has not only got a theoretical understanding, but they also have been trained to perform in a specific job role, and they have the credential to back that up.
So when you say we in this context, it's more specific than just VMware in general. You have a VMware Academy, right?
That is correct.
And how does that work?
We have established the VMware IT Academy, and what we're doing is we are sharing our intellectual property in terms of courseware, also in terms of our software, all of the presentation materials. We make all of that available to the schools at no cost, along with the necessary support to get them going. So once they have applied and been accepted to the program, we assign a mentor to them to help them become certified, so that they are then able to deliver classes in their institution to their students in the same fashion that we do for our commercial students. We're using exactly the same curriculum that was created by defining taking a job role, creating the necessary learning objectives against that job role to prepare someone to perform in it. That's what we use to create the courseware. It's also what we use to create the certification. And so once the student has taken the course through the school, and we make essentially our vendor support mechanism available to the school, so that they can buy books directly from our vendor and get the economy of scale that we have achieved, and they're purchasing directly, so that they're paying about a third of what they would if they were going through a professional publisher. Mm-hmm. And additionally, we work with Pearson VUE, and what we have done is we have enabled the student at the conclusion of class to get a discount voucher that they can then redeem with Pearson VUE. The discount is a 70% discount, so that the student is actually paying 30% of what they would if they were taking the class commercially, and then going on to get certification. So there's tremendous economies and advantages for the school and the student.
Wow, I love it. So we've got a breakthrough technology that can make a big difference in the operations of enterprises of all kinds. They realize that, they're adopting it. They need people who can help them make this work so that they realize those benefits. It's not just enough to do commercial training, because that's expensive and therefore not available to everyone. But by partnering with public education, VMware is cost effectively pushing these knowledge and skills out into our community to the benefit of our community.
Absolutely, yeah. We're teaching thousands upon thousands of students every day in our commercial environment, but those students already have jobs. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to prepare the students in the education community to be able to participate in the workforce. One of the things that we had found was in looking at Monster.com and other job sites, we found that there were thousands of jobs which required a VMware certified professional credential. And in our commercial training, we are not supplying that need.
Right.
And that is what drove us to come up with the offering that we have in the VMware IT Academy.
Awesome. These are just the kind of opportunities and partnerships that we're looking for. One of our regional partners, Foothill College, is participating in your program as
Yes.
a VMware Academy. About 2 semesters into it, they say it's going great. So let's say a community college in our region is interested in all of this, and they would like to learn more and engage with you, find out how they become a VMware Academy. What would they do?
Well, what they would do, we have a website within the VMware.com website that talks about the VMware IT Academy as well as our other offerings for academia. And we have a very, very simple registration/application form. You tell us who you are. It's usually a faculty member who is applying on behalf of the institution. Tell us who the institution is. And then we have an online, pretty much like a software license agreement that you would select, you would basically agree to and click submit. And within a day or so, you'd be hearing from us, and we start the ball rolling by assigning a mentor and providing you with train-the-trainer e-learning, as well as the labs, and then working with the institution and the instructors within the institution to get them certified, and then enabling the ability to purchase courseware directly from our printer, and on it goes. So once we have gotten the institution and the faculty up and running, basically at that point we step out of the way and let you alone. If you need help, we're there for you, but otherwise we do not interfere in any way with your operation. We respect you as educational professionals and don't pretend to be able to tell you how to do your job.
Awesome. I love this story. It's National Science Foundation helping successful industry with breakthrough technology work with public education for the benefit of society and economic growth in the U.S. Let's keep working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Very much.